Welcome everybody to our Tactical Tuesday for October the 12th, 2021. Can you believe it's October already?
So according to our calendars, we're supposed to be home October
15th.
Is
that
it?
Ain't happening.
Yeah, 13th, I think, is our calendar. So our
Is
trip,
yeah,
like, it's all purpled out or whatever until I think the 13th.
We are currently in Pictou, Nova
yeah.
Scotia, about to jump on the ferry to Prince Edward Island. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. We're not sure. We're
tomorrow.
So
because I have a surprise for you.
Oh right. No.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
We have to be on PEI by Thursday.
Yes, that's
okay.
Right.
Welcome everybody. Today is really cool because let's just start off by saying this. Have any of you, and I want to see it in the comments, guys. So thanks for saying hello as you come on and letting us know where you're from. That's awesome. But I want to hear from you. If you ever doubted yourself when it comes to getting involved in real estate and what it can possibly do for you, have you ever sat there and thought, well, it's nice for certain people to do it, but I don't know about me? I know that that's a thought that Tiff and I had when we were first getting started, and we've said it a million times that, it's one thing to see others doing it, but can you picture yourself doing it? Well, tonight we're going to be interviewing several of our IGNiTED members, several investors that are currently investing in real estate, very active in the real estate market, and they all had many different doubts. Okay, so we're going to ask them why they got into real estate, what got them started, and where they are today. And you know what? We're hoping that from this Tactical Tuesday tonight, that you guys are going to see a little bit of yourselves in maybe one, maybe two, maybe all of our guests tonight, and say, you know what, I feel the same way. And you know what, if they can do it, maybe I can do it, and get a little bit of confidence.
And here's the thing is that it's doubts galore, right? Like, it's so true. Hey, Sugar and JC. So because we all have those mind blocks, but there is a point at which some people get through them and some people don't. And we have found in talking to people, sometimes it's just the belief. And we know that proved true for us when we saw other people doing it and talked to other people that were doing it. So we knew it wasn't this pie in the sky. We knew it could be attained, but we just didn't know how it was going to happen. But the belief that it could happen kept us going, and it kept us rolling. Mm-hmm. And that was a big thing because we didn't want to, give up too soon.
And so, yeah. And for us, it was like, okay, we started to meet some of the real estate investors that were actually doing it, and we're taking action, and we're buying properties, and we're partnering with people. And, we're not using their own money, but other people's money in one way or the other. And once we started meeting and conversing and talking with these people and hearing their story, then that started to create belief. That started to create opportunity, because we saw these are real humans. These are real people. They're doing it. And if they can do it, we can do it. And it's just a matter of putting the systems in place. And once you do that, it's incredible where you can go. So, super excited. We're going to be bringing on 5 different guests tonight. 5 of our IGNiTED members.
There were so many more we could have brought on.
Absolutely.
Craziness. But we wanted to introduce you. Let's first bring on Melanie Robinson, so everybody knows Melanie. Melanie does our Mind Power Mondays.
Melanie, Oprah,
Oh, come on, Corey.
It's all
in my dreams.
Right?
All right. Yes. So Mel, let's go back to the beginning. I don't know what the beginning is for you, but if you were to kind of go back when we're talking about real estate, okay, what was the beginning for you? Like, where did you start? Where do you want to start with that?
Well, I would say the beginning in theory would be back when I joined RAIN and I started, doing flips and that kind of thing on my own. But that wasn't, I feel like it's kind of 2 chapters. That's one chapter. And that was an unfulfilling chapter that, it was just doing real estate. I would say the beginning for me, and I know that it's, I hate to even say this because I know that boot camp is coming up and I don't want it to sound salesy for boot camp, except that, honestly, literally for me, the beginning of this journey in real estate was when I signed up for boot camp, for sure.
Okay.
So,
and so you had been in, kind of involved in real estate. You had been looking at real estate. You knew you wanted to get it. You had been doing some stuff.
I'd been doing, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But the connection for her was that she, like she said, it was just work. It was just a job and it made money and it wasn't connecting to her. Whereas with boot camp, she took boot camp and realized, holy crap, I can change other people's lives. I can actually make an influence. I can actually. So our questions are that we sent to you guys ahead of time were like, where were you? So you were in real estate, you were making money. But okay, go ahead. Where were you?
Yeah. So I was doing more active, like we were doing flips and new builds to sell and things like that. So yes, I was making money, constantly. It's still not like money in the bank because it was constantly rolling into the next project, but I was making active income, but I wasn't doing anything to plan for my future. So that was a really big thing for me. I've been self-employed since 2000. I've, always kind of needed to sign up the next person or get the next client in order to get fed. I mean, for being dramatic, but to get that paycheck. And I had nothing built up. I mean, very little RSPs, but nothing built up for my retirement. No kind of plan on how I was ever going to get out of the rat race. How was I ever going to stop having to trade my face for a dollar? I had nothing built up for the future in any way, and I didn't see how I was going to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And I think a lot of people can relate to that because, it's not necessarily a bad thing that we have to, have jobs and live our lives and whatever, provide for our families. Like that's life. That's how it is. But when we don't know that there's a better way or a different way, and then, we find out that there is, we all want a piece of that pie, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we all make different choices at different times. So for me, I was a single mom for a big portion of time. I made the choice consciously. I don't regret any of it, but I made the choice to be, to work less hours and do what I needed to do in order to be able to put a roof over my kid's head, but not do anything for building for the future. So what has happened for me since joining boot camp, learning about, all of this whole world, aside from the fulfillment side, which might be the biggest piece of it for me, but I'm building my future. I know I'm going to be able to have freedom. I know I'm taking my grandkids to Disneyland, and I know that I'm doing spa days if I know that I'm doing that stuff with my family in the future. I just know it because now I'm building to have that freedom, and that's the difference between then and now.
Okay, so the second question we asked you, the first was where were you? Second was,
and you've touched on the second one already, but yes.
Did I? Naughty.
Yeah, but where are you now? So that's like now and you have that freedom of choice and you know what you're going to be doing and why do you know that? What's the difference? What are you doing now from what you were doing then?
Oh my gosh, everything looks different. I mean, I'm buying long-term buy and holds, which is what creates that future. I have the great partnership with Ryan and Ashley, which everybody's going to get to, hear from later. We're acquiring properties, which is going to be building long-term wealth for us and our families and our partners and, everyone who we team up with. So that's the difference.
Super cool.
Yeah.
And
I remember when you first got started with us, Mel, how you it was like an epiphany for you in some ways that it wasn't all just about you and what you can get, but it was more about, and for you, and it's a credit to you for this way of thinking, but it was, more about that you can change other people's lives and you can have effect on other people's lives as well and make a difference. And that was important to you.
I feel like I'm on the planet to make a difference in some small way. I know that sounds super cheesy, but that is why I was going to leave real estate investing before I joined boot camp. Right as I was in boot camp, I had my resume professionally done for the first time in 20 years or 19 years. And I was applying for corporate jobs, for corporate training positions. And because I felt like I wasn't making a difference. So for me, absolutely. I mean, I'm obviously super excited to know that what I'm building for the future, there's no doubt about it. But I think the reason I'm so driven and I'm so inspired and motivated and excited every day to do what I do and loving it the way I do is because I have combined sort of my passion and my purpose here in this lifetime with doing something like real estate investing. So combining those two things has made it that, I don't know. I mean, you're right. It was literally a moment. And we had that post on Facebook that I posted on October 9th so that I would read it before I had done a single darn thing. It was a long time before I did anything, actually took action. because that was a slow process for me too. It's like I joined boot camp. I was so excited. I all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, I can actually make a difference in people's lives while investing in real estate. Like, I was so excited. But then it was like, I don't know, I'd have to do the math, but 15, 16 months later before I actually settled into what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Totally.
And it was the same for us. When we got all excited, we got started and we started learning and we started, taking courses, and we joined RAIN and we did all the things. And it was 16 months before we ended up buying our first property.
But those
and
16 months were not just sitting there watching. They
absolutely
were
not.
spinning tires. I was working my tail off. We were doing it. We just weren't getting anywhere. And so it felt like it was never, ever, ever going to happen. But it did if you stay the course. And staying the course, you often need to have that belief. So
100%.
Yeah, we talk about our whys a lot, and that does help you stay the course. But honestly, secondly, it's that belief. So
question number 3, Mel. First steps for newbies. What's your best advice that you would give somebody? Let's say they're just kind of getting into real estate. They just joined Fearless within the last month or two. They're just starting to hear about all of these people. They're watching your Mind Power Mondays. What advice would you give these people on how they should get started? What they should do first?
A couple of things. I mean, I think obviously joining something like Fearless, so surrounding yourself by people who are actually doing it so that you can see and connecting with them. So not just watching from afar, but making connections, actually connecting with people, having conversations, finding out that you aren't alone. I mean, I think one of the biggest sort of challenges when you're new is or when you're trying to build something new. Like I think for me in that 15 months, you alluded to it, it's like you're doing all of this work and you're not seeing the rewards of that work. So then you can question, is what I'm doing working? Am I crazy? I thought, am I crazy? Am I serious? Like, is this ever actually going to happen? Or am I going to end up being so embarrassed that I spent, all day, every day doing something that didn't ever come to fruition? So I think all of those, when you talk to people who went through that and then came out the other side and it all came together and it paid off, I think that's a huge piece for staying the course. And then it's, figuring out, I say this in the accountability calls too, and I think it's a hugely important piece, is we can get caught and lost in the big picture, financial freedom day, which can seem bigger than maybe we can even grasp in this moment. So I think, deciding what's your next step or what's your first goal. And that might not even be a door. That might be like acquiring a door. That might be signing up for a course. That might be, connecting with a certain number of people. That might be, but looking at it in bite-sized pieces so it doesn't feel so insurmountable, I think is a hugely important piece for beginners. Well, for all of us, but for beginners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely. And like someone just said today, like I'm glad Paula says, I'm glad to know I'm not the only one that's working hard, but it's taking a long time to actually happen. So, and that's the whole thing that this is about, Paula. We hope that you guys can see yourself in a little bit of each one. We're going to interview 4 more people here today. 4 more sets of people even. And, it's just the name of the game. It's like you have to go through this trial by fire and get through it. But yeah, thanks, Mel. And I know that you're a big proponent of not making it look like it's all glamorous, because it's not. And I love that about you, because it's not all easy and it's not great even when you somewhat get there, but
yeah, it's so worth it. It's so
Mm-hmm.
worth it. And you just need to know you're not alone. You need to know it's not all rainbows and butterflies. You need to know that's okay. That's normal. And if you weren't having that experience, it would be concerning, and that you just need to hold on to your dreams. And the other thing I just wanted to say that I think is really important is for if people can connect their passion with real estate. So that you're like, I think that's one of the things that really fueled me. So what am I really good at? What do I love? What fills my heart? What fills my soul? And how can I bring that to the world of real estate investing so that I'm fueled, every day to continue to build?
Yeah,
for sure.
So
yeah.
Anyhow.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you for letting us know where you were, where you are now, and a few steps for people to get started. That's really what this is all about, is kind of, and hopefully everybody watching here today can pick out a thing or two that they can identify with, and, it kind of makes sense. And yeah, I think that same way too. and then you can take it from there and do something with it. And thanks for the motivation, Mel, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys, and everybody who's contemplating boot camp, sign up, because I have to get off of you, so I can't say that later. So sign up. It's amazing. It's life-changing, and you've got literally nothing to lose and everything to gain. So
Awesome.
It's actually free to come too.
Yeah.
So
wow,
it's October,
amazing.
Thanks, Mel.
October
Okay,
22.
thank you.
And thanks, Mel. Nin.
Okay, guys. So
okay. Well, I was just gonna say, guys, can you put in the thing? I forgot the link for boot camp. Can you put that in the chat too, please? Nin, Krissa, Rio, Jules, please. Okay, so who are we gonna bring on next?
Okay, so we have 4 more investors that are active, guys, that we're going to be bringing on tonight that hopefully you can pick something from. If you have questions as we're going along, throw them in the chat and we will grill them. We will ask them. So feel free to do that, guys. So let's bring on Ryan and Ashley. So we were in BC with Mel. Now we're jumping over to New Brunswick with Ryan and Ashley. Hello, guys. Welcome to our show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Okay. So go ahead.
With you guys, it's a little bit different because you were being groomed by Mr. Sean to become a money partner, and you got so interested in it that you decided to do it yourself with his help and encouragement, which is great. So what were you doing in your life before real estate came along?
So I was doing what I was still doing before, was working in just cybersecurity, pretty much full time, and doing a lot of traveling back and forth between Montreal and Nova Scotia, and doing the 9-to-5 grind. We had always talked about real estate for quite a while, quite a few years. We wanted to do it, and we were always, I guess, trying to. Yeah. Stuck in the analysis paralysis state, right? So for quite a few years, and it just happened that. I worked with Sean, right? So I had gone down to Halifax for a work trip, and he had actually just been finishing up a boot camp. He was during one of your guys' boot camp, and he was like, talking about real estate, and I want to know more. So he actually directed me to the recordings of your boot camp, which you still had up at the time. So that's actually how we got introduced into the group.
Crazy, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you weren't in real estate at all. You were working full time. Ashley, you guys have 5 kids, so busy mama and busy lives, period. So then you took boot camp and you decided you joined IGNiTED, which is awesome. And what happened from there? What's your journey?
Where are you at?
Yeah, where are you at? But also, how'd you get there? Like, what was your kind of, hurdles that you had to get over and all that kind of stuff?
My biggest hurdle after joining was a dirty toilet, but she can get to that story.
So within joining IGNiTED, we bought our first single family home flip, or what we thought was going to be a flip, within a month. And COVID hit in New Brunswick within the same time. So we flipped for the majority of it ourselves. We went in, like my son and I went in. We're the ones that did all the demo. I'm the one that pulled up all the gross toilet with Ryan standing there with the hand sanitizer. Like when we talk about boots on the ground, that's me. I'm your girl. I'm for everything. All the dirty, nitty-gritty stuff, that's me.
In my defense, the toilet hadn't been washed in like 5-10 years. It was bad.
I don't know what has changed.
I think I remember you putting a post on something about that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, I remember you guys painting laser sessions and just having it on, and there you are in the background doing stuff, and like it was a busy time. That wasn't how you planned it to go, but you rolled with the punches. So
hold on. Working 9 to 5. Ashley, you guys have 5 kids. And
at the time we only had the 4 because Harper's only a couple months old now.
Only 4. Okay. Well, that's much easier. Yeah. Okay. So only 4 kids, and here you are buying real estate within a month of joining our program, and then all of a sudden you're out there and you're pulling these dirty toilets off. You're getting like your hands dirty. You're right in the middle of it all.
I'm right in the middle of it all. I mean, that's kind of where my position even is now, right in the middle of it all. Because this kind of gave me the opportunity to always fulfill that part of me that goes, I want to contribute. I want to do something. But how, as a mom of 5, as anybody mom knows, how do you work full time, pay for daycare because I have to be making 6+ figures a year for it to even make any sense for me to work at all. So this is kind of giving me that slack where Ryan still does work his 9-to-5 job, and I do all of the management. I do all the running around. I do all that stuff, but that still gives me time that like I pick up my 6-year-old at school. If the kids have soccer practice, anything, it gives me all that flexibility that I needed in a job that I wasn't going to get from working in a nursing home like I was 10 years ago when I only had 1-2 children at home.
Not to interrupt you, but everybody's saying happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the chat room filled up.
I was just gonna say, man, there's a lot of messages coming through. That's so yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you know what? We have people that are watching here and they're saying, well, I can't do it because I have 2 kids at home. Or maybe they're saying, I can't do it because I work 9 to 5. Or they're saying, I can't do it because of this or because of that. And guys, we've all been there. We've all had these doubts. We've all said, I can't do it because of. And, you know, Ryan and Ashley can do it because of this. But you know what, guys? What was it that brought you from your life before to where, okay, no, let's just fast forward. What have you done in real estate?
Jeez.
Yeah. So we started off with our single family home.
Yeah. And then a triplex we bought ourselves as well.
And then that was our first JV opportunity. And then that December we purchased a triplex just for us personally that we're still working on. And then after my whole, I can't remember what that blonde girl's name was on our live.
On the last boot camp, actually.
On the last boot camp.
Yep.
Brought us into Melanie's world. And between Melanie and I and Ryan, we have purchased, I think we're at 15 properties now, which equates,
with the ones that we're in the process of closing, 15 in a year. Yeah,
in a year. I think Melanie said it equates to about 47 or 56 doors or something like that. It's something absolutely insane.
I love it. I love it. You know what? It's great when people never understand when you're saying,
you don't know.
You know, when the people ask us how many properties you have, and we're like, well, 100 and something, and you start losing the number, and here you are somewhere between 47 and 56 doors. That's kind of what ends up happening. So here we go. You guys are a phenomenal example in, you know, where you have come from. Now, you know, some people have also said, well, how can you do this? COVID hit. And now, you know, using that as an excuse. And you've done this all in the last year. Like, you know, this is, so for those of you watching and saying, well, yeah, that was easy 10 years ago or 15 years ago. This is actually what you're doing right now. And you're still out there acquiring properties. So it's absolutely possible. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I mean, and point in case, Corey, is our first property that we bought, we bought it intending to flip, and then that's when COVID happened and supply chain issues just happened everywhere. Supply chain issues, couldn't get workers in, couldn't even allow to work on the properties, so we had to pivot. And at that time when we were just starting, we had unlimited resources at our hands. Like, we had just the Fearless group, and we had the IGNiTED group as well too, to ask these questions, and we were able to successfully pivot and learn and change it into a long-term buy and hold that is happily tenanted ever since. And you know, that was in large part due to the support system that you build in real estate. And it's, you know, it's this group, it's your network, it's your friends, it's your family, well, the ones that support you anyway. They're all your resources, right? So
So if you had a word of advice for the newbies, what would it be?
My thing would actually be invest in yourself. If you see a price tag to your growth, don't look at it as how much this is going to cost you. Look at it as how long before I get to earn that amount back, you know, because you're always going to be able to earn back what you invest in yourself in short or medium term times, right? So it's a matter of what's this going to get me and how am I going to grow from it, not how much is it going to cost me.
You know what? That one took me a really long time.
That's a tough one for that to sink in.
Really long time. But I will say that when I finally bought into that, the difference has been exponential. I can never imagine going back. But you're right, Ryan. That's a big one.
Don't give up. It's hard. If this was easy, everyone would be doing it. It's as simple as that. We all, and I mean, if you look at me and Ryan as the gold star of, oh my God, like look what could happen. It's not like that for everybody. We were in a market that needed growth. I guess we were capable of doing that, and not all markets are sustainable like that, but you can find something. There's always a place for growth.
Exactly. You don't have to be where you're investing. You can learn to invest in other areas and not give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys are in the Maritimes. You guys are in New Brunswick, great spot there. So you have lots of good stuff to come. Private lending, joint ventures, all that kind of stuff. So keep on rolling. Thanks for the advice. Thanks for always helping everyone like you do, because you guys are just those good humans that do that. So, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us on.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Wow. So
Man.
5 kids, working full time during COVID, 56 doors, 15 properties in a year. Guys,
Craziness.
it's possible.
Okay,
Simple
but
as that.
here's also the beauty of it. There's numbers, there's doors, there's money, whatever. At the end of the day, you heard Melanie say it, you heard Ryan and Ashley saying it. There's a piece of, I wanted to be involved. I wanted to give, have a purpose. I wanted to, whatever it might be. And you can have that in real estate. You can actually live your life's purpose. If that's what your life's purpose is within real estate, you can use it to fulfill that side of
And
you.
help
So
others.
if you're in this state of just, I don't know what the heck I want to do, it like you talk to people, and real estate really can fill that void. So,
And I love the advice that Ryan gave,
Yeah, it
guys.
was good.
When it comes to spending money on yourselves, we all hesitate at times. Sometimes we'll have no issue spending money on somebody else, but when it comes to our own education, when our own coaching or mentorship or whatever it might be, we might say, well, you know what, I'll just try to figure it out on my own. And then we spin our wheels and spin our wheels and spin our wheels. So I love the advice from Ryan. Guys, surround yourselves with like-minded people that are doing this, and surround yourselves with mentors that can get you to that next level, because that's really what this is about. Okay, who's next?
this guy,
Sean, you're on.
camera. just
Sean,
so
you're
you know.
on.
No picking your nose.
Thing on?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
It's on. All right, Sean.
Okay, so for everybody here, this is the Sean Kearney from what? Halifax area, Nova
Not that
Scotia,
guy, Michael
not too far from us where we are right now. And yeah, not that guy. So Sean, come on, let's be serious here, and for like 30 seconds, and bring us back to when you got started in real estate. Where were you? Where were you at?
So-
and what brought you to real estate?
So personally, and financially in your life, whatever, both sides.
All right. So when I started in real estate, I had this ingenious plan to buy one house a year and have some fool pay off my mortgage. And then after 10 or 15 years, I was going to refinance or sell the houses, take that windfall and run away. I did my very first property and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Why haven't I been doing this before? I need education. So I come from, as Ryan says, I come from an IT background where if you're not continuously learning, you're 6 months to a year behind already. So I went from this very narrow-minded view, and I say of buying one house a year and having someone pay off the mortgage, to seeking out education. As Ryan says, investing in myself, broadening my knowledge of real estate. So I went from here, and I'm about here now, and I still got a lot more to go. So after that first property was just, it was 66,000 pounds of trash sitting in a basement with water going around it. You want to talk about a nightmare? That's your nightmare. I loved every moment of it. I just couldn't get enough of it. I threw out $10,000 in dump fees from all the hoarder trash. I flipped it. I flipped it to myself, which is part of the education that you get when you're working with the different organizations. So I reached out and I found Keyspire for my first place. And through Keyspire, I was there for a few years. I had found Corey and Tiffany because they actually brought Corey and Tiffany up on stage at the summit. They pointed them out and they say, these are the best guys in the country. If you basically follow what these guys do, you'll be successful. I thought I'd already knew everything at the time, and my wife was a little bit.
Not you, Sean. That doesn't sound like you at all.
My wife was a little bit wavy, so I signed up when Fearless on your very first boot camp.
That's right. You're one of our OGs.
Oh yes, I am. And so Karen sat in, and we learned. I learned. She learned, which shows to me just because I thought I knew everything doesn't mean I do, and I still have that mentality. So within the first, I think it was the first month and a half of joining Fearless and IGNiTED, I had doubled my doors. Now I had been with Keyspire and on my own for a couple of years prior to that. So it just shows you if you get the right education with the right support, you are going to succeed. And what I like to I guess talk about the boot camp and that, think of it as a layer cake. And with the boot camp, you know, they make sure you get the base layers down. And then after you get that 16, 17 layer cake, you throw down the icing, you sit back and you eat it. The IGNiTED boot camp is just taking everything step by step. If you have a question, you can reach out on the private Facebook group. You can reach out to Corey and Tiffany. You can reach out to me, Ryan, Mel, any of the OGs. We're debating whether that's going to be old guy or original gangster. We'll get back to you. But the support is, I think, what was crucial to our success. I love Keyspire, but Keyspire to me is kind of like a librarian in a library. You go into the library and say, I want to learn about cars. She points you to the book with all the cars. You read the books. That's it. Here, you want to learn about cars. Corey points you over to the cars. You go, you read the books. And then when you have questions, you can ask Corey, hey, well, what's an alternator do? What's this do? What's that do? It's kind of, it's not a lot of hand holding, but there's a little snuggly and cuddling there.
Well, I don't think we've ever snuggled, Sean, and I've never held your hand. But yeah, thank you.
I remember a lot of crying when the Oilers lost last year.
Yes.
You know what? As long as they last longer than the Flames, I'm happy. So, okay, so let's go.
That's so nice.
We heard
that's awesome.
Yes, thank you for that. Now you've told us where you were. You had this plan. You were gonna, and it was an ingenious plan of buying one property a year for how many years? You know, eventually sell them, refinance, whatever. Where are you now? So from that plan to where are you now? What have you done since you have been around us in the last couple of years?
So I've been quiet lately to a lot of the IGNiTEDs because I've just before COVID hit, I kind of changed my focus from single family, multifamily homes. And when I say multifamily homes, I mean 2, 3, 4 units. I now focus on apartment buildings, anything over 20 units. Again, this is my original idea, ingenious idea, again, was so narrow-minded thinking, where the education that I've gotten with you guys and with other organizations, it's really expanded. You know, it's opened up so many different worlds for me. I mean, everyone knows about this about McDonald's, but for anyone who's been hiding under a rock, if I were to ask you this question and say, hey, how does McDonald's make most of their money? Some people might say shakes and fries. Well, no, they don't. They make their money from renting that location to the franchisee. So they're in real estate. And that's what McDonald's discovered earlier on. And if anyone hasn't watched that movie yet, go watch it. It's very, very lovely and interesting. But yeah, I mean, my narrow-minded thinking grew, and I at the time didn't feel that I had anything more to learn. But you guys opened up a whole new world where I doubled my doors and then doubled my doors I think it was a month or two after that, doubled them again. Now I stopped counting doors. We used to have a fun little competition with someone else who was in the group, Trevor. If he got one door more than me, that was unacceptable. I had to have, one more than him, and we would go back and forth. Now it's all about lifestyle. It's not about collecting doors, but for instance, my mother, 77 years old as of yesterday, has to go into a retirement home. So do I reach into my pocket like a good son and pull out my savings, which I will, or do I go buy an apartment building that's going to cash flow to pay for her her stay at the assisted living place? I like the second one.
Yeah.
So
I like the second one too, and that's what I was hoping you would bring up is that difference in lifestyle. It's not about how many doors you have or how much money you're making, because each person has a different need for how much money they need. What it is what it does for you in your lifestyle, both your self-confidence, both maybe your time management, like the fact that you're not working a 9-to-5 job anymore, and that's what you want to be doing. Great. Some people want to keep their 9-to-5s, and that's great too.
Yeah.
But the difference in lifestyle is, to me, what's the most inspiring part of any of this.
And that brings us back to what Mel said earlier too. It's not just about, okay, I have so many doors or I've made so much money. It's not about that, but what is it enabling you to do to help others? And here you're talking about your mom and how you're able to go out and buy an apartment building that cash flows and pays for whatever you need to pay for. These are the types of mindset changes that occur as you go through this journey.
Yeah. And I mean, we like Disney World. Someday I want to buy a Tesla. And these are things that old mindset Sean would have saved up or gone in debt and paid the interest, like all of us do. New mindset Sean says, okay, how do I pay for this without costing me any money?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
And God forbid, my mother does cross the bridge to go visit my grandparents. But that money is still going to be generating from those buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to, shift for somewhere else. And I mean, it's all about the mindset. And again, the program helped me in the support, helped me modify and grow my mindset so that I could be more inclusive and think about different items.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I know you don't count doors anymore, but let's say the last 60 days, what have you been able to do when it comes to doors? Let's put a number, because people are watching this and they're saying, okay, well, yeah, Sean's great and all that, but let's just be real. What have you been able to accomplish in the last 60 days?
All right, so I officially started buying buildings in January. I bought my first 32 unit senior complex in Capillet, New Brunswick. It's about 20 minutes outside of Moncton with my business partners. From there, we bought 3 buildings up in Bathurst, New Brunswick, right next to a very beautiful community college. I mean, it's literally spitting distance. From there, we have 24 units under contract that we're going through the due diligence process in Shippenhagen. We have another 45 units under contract under Fredericton, New Brunswick. And we just closed maybe about a month and a couple of weeks ago on 5 buildings in Amherst. And I have 3 buildings that were just sent to me that I'm in the process of running the numbers on. 2 of them look good, so we might be putting offers in on those ones. One of them is a 90 unit, and I'm not sure what the other one is.
Awesome. So
Crazy.
so here's the thing, guys. Now, Sean, one quick question, and try to answer this with one word if you can. How much money of your own, how much out of your own pocket have you spent to buy these buildings?
Oh, that's the best part. Nothing.
There we go.
I haven't put a single penny of my own money. And for anyone else who doesn't know, in February, because of this beautiful COVID, my boss decided to say, see ya, and let me go. So I've been unemployed since February of 2021. And I've actually been closing on more buildings because I've had more time to work on them. I should have almost quit or got fired sooner, because my growth has been, again, right now I'm trying to figure out how to hire an executive assistant because I've never done anything like that.
Yeah.
So I need help right now. So
There you go,
we know you need help, Sean, in
So,
more ways than one.
if
But
you want to learn,
I have not put a single dime of my own money, with the exception of the first person. I put 20K in when I first became IGNiTED, and I doubled my doors just because they wanted some cash in there. But all my apartment buildings, not a single dime of my own money.
Yeah. And you're giving great returns to your
amazing.
investors. So
Yeah.
you know what? That's what this is all about, guys. Thank you, Sean, for joining us today. Thank you for the words that you've given us. One quick word of advice for newbies.
Yeah.
If newbies are watching, they're new to this, what word of advice would you give to them?
Do a damn deal.
Love it. Love it.
Right?
You need one deal under your belt. You need to feel the hardship, the worrying. It sucks. We all do it. We all pace back and forth. I do it now on a grander scale because I'm dealing with 45 units, 90 units. But if you go through analysis paralysis and you don't do a deal, you're never taking that real first step.
Yeah.
And when you take that first step with your own money, whether it's a working partnership or a financial partnership, you'll start seeing other wins and you'll start moving forward. And then one step will turn two, and you'll go faster and faster. And the next thing you know, you'll be sitting on here on live telling people, I have no idea how many doors I have. I just count buildings now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy
amazing
to be in that position.
Thank you, Sean. We got to move on, but thank you for your advice. Much appreciated. Everybody in the group here is saying thank you. So
Go Flames, go!
I will now remove him from this live. Okay, we have two more we're interviewing, guys. We got 16 minutes left. We got two more to go. Since Colin and Nicole are out east, we're gonna switch over to them, and then we're gonna get to Sam. So let's go to Colin and Nicole. Hello, guys. How are you?
There we go.
Yeah. We can hear you now.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get to the chase. We know you guys are in Ontario. You're moving to the Maritimes to continue investing out here.
Yep.
You got two littles as well, so you're busy. You still, Colin, work a full-time job as well. Like, you guys got a lot going on.
Yep.
However, where were you before real estate came into your life, both like mentally, personally, and financially? And then where are you now?
So before real estate investing, I mean, we were just doing what everybody else does. You know, he had a full-time job. I was still in school, finishing, getting to my full-time job. We were introduced to real estate investing very similar to the way a lot of people are, sort of like a free event, drop in, learn some information, and then join this group, you know, spend all this money and join this group. And I think I'll say I was one of the people that watched income property like obsessively. And I was always saying, we can do that. Why don't we just do that? We can do this. But you know, like, you need education you can't just, you could just buy properties but you do need a little bit of prep. And I don't know. I think we always kind of knew that was something that we were going to go into, because Colin, when we lived in Montreal, Colin purchased like a triplex with one of his friends, and you know, like, we all lived in one, you know, flat, and then we rented out the other two. And so, like a lot of other people, you sort of understand that generally this concept makes sense: buy a property and have a tenant pay off your mortgage. But knowing all of the details and exactly how to do it, that's what we didn't have. And so once we started getting, you know, a little bit more knowledge, we then again got to a certain point that we didn't feel like we could quite go past, right? So we purchased 2 homes in Ontario, and at that point we were maxed out with our mortgages
done.
because Ontario mortgages they're not cheap, right? Like we were done at that point. And so I think the biggest hurdle, the biggest stumbling block, and the biggest, like mental thing that we had to overcome was moving from, I remember this would happen all the time. We'd have these great ideas and we'd come up with a concept or a strategy, or we'd see a property or something and be like, oh, it'd be such a great idea. And Colin would always be like, but we have no money, Nicole. And like,
practical, being practical.
Right. I mean, makes sense, right?
It does.
He would be always like, we have no money, Nicole. And I'm like, I mean, isn't this whole thing that we're in? This is before we, joined, like we met you guys, but the whole, concept was, using other people's money. You don't necessarily need all of your own money. Everyone gets to a certain point where they will max out and where they won't be able to get any more mortgages. And so, I'm here like, but I thought we can just,
just do it.
Just do it, right? We can get other people's money. And so I think that was like one of our biggest hurdles that we had to get past, was the idea that you don't have to do it all yourself, because you open up a far bigger world once you start, understanding the power of partnerships, essentially.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So you know what? So that's a way of saying, I think, if I can recap, is that, you're just like most people in that, you're real people. You're a younger couple. You have, normal lives like everybody else. You had an interest in real estate. You wanted to do something, but you weren't quite sure what to do and where to go and how to do it. So
Exactly.
Let's fast forward now. And where are you at today when it comes to real estate investment, and whatever you want to share with us?
I mean, just to go back to the very start, like when we wanted to get into real estate, we were living in Vancouver and very expensive, could only afford to rent. And we just had a bunch of RSPs for my work. Luckily, I did that from the start. And once we took the dive in and we joined a group, we spent all of our cash on a membership, and then we moved our RSPs over and started investing in that. And we could see kind of hey, you can do these with these kind of investments and make some money. And that was great, but then you got a taste and you wanted more. So then, then we started looking, and we did what everybody else does. Let's save our pennies, let's put it all together, and we got enough to do a down payment. Okay, we got our first property. And now we're back to zero money and starting to save again, right? And that's where we said, like, well, let's learn about joint ventures. Let's learn about how to partner with people. And that's, we seen you speak on stage, and that's kind of where we said, this is the next logical step in our education. We've heard about these topics. We've heard like general broad terms, but like, let's get into it. So that's when we decided, our daughter was just born. She was a week old. And I said, there's this boot camp. I need to figure out what this is all about. So I'm sure you guys remember, we're holding a little week-old baby, at 10 o'clock at night, participating in this, how do we grow our real estate investment? So that's kind of where we started, and where we kind of, invest in yourself. That's one thing, your education. And now, like, we've kind of fell into this, well, not niche, but we've kind of worked at partnerships. We found partnerships to be incredibly powerful. Partnerships with other investors, partnerships with your mentors, partnerships with new investors, all through education and helping other people. It's all about giving in the community. Ask a question. People will share what they've been through, share their experiences, and grow from that. So now we focus on doing a lot of partnerships with mainly a lot of other investors, including a lot of people in Fearless as well.
So where are we at?
And where are we?
Yeah, where are we at?
Have you bought a property?
So yeah, we started in December, and then
December 2020.
December 2020, so not a year. We're somewhere around 100 doors, and we have about 15 or so joint ventures, a couple of apartment buildings. And I know the next question you'll ask is, how much money do we have in it of ours? So we have zero money of ours in all these investments. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
Yeah.
management. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of meetings. You got to stay on top of this because you're dealing with other people's money as well. And you know, real estate is not, like people said, it's not easy. It's a roller coaster. But we've turned our education into success. Another great thing that we've done is we just let our friends and family and everybody kind of know what we were doing. We were very shy about it. We didn't tell people what we were spending on education, what we were doing at the start. That's really propelled us, and it made it more, I think, real for us too. Once we put it out there, it wasn't just our secret, and people just gravitated to it, and it's been fantastic.
I think there's a bit of like a oh, sorry, what did you want to say?
No, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think there's sometimes people have a bit of a stigma saying like, oh, I spent this much money on a membership to something. And I think maybe there was some pyramid schemes that people did in the past, and that's why there's this idea. But I mean, we see it as education, and nobody has any issues saying how much they dropped on the university education and where did it get them. Some people still use it, but you know, not everyone does, right? And so you know, we see it as a very important tool, and I think every one of the other investors touched on it, but it's almost like this. And I think for new people, they see all these different programs, and sometimes it's hard to figure out which one's the right one to go into, which one's what am I going to invest my money in. And so my advice for people trying to figure out which one to go into, it's like you get to a certain point with the education that you have, and then you start having specific questions. And then you find someone or a program that's going to help answer those specific questions. And then you grow and you progress with that. And then you'll do it again, and you'll keep doing it. Like Sean said, like you have to just keep learning, or else you're going to be, you know, behind the curve. And so for us, it was like we got to a certain point with one program, and then we needed some more specific, you know, information, and then we got into a different strategy, and then we needed more education with that. And I think that's very, very important for people, because the sort of like flashy education programs that are being thrown at you left, right, and center, they all have their own value, but you need to know what you want, and where is that going to get you there, right?
And one thing that people ask, people will come to us and say like, how do you JV? Like,
period.
Like that was a very expensive question to answer, because we spent time and money, right? And then if people ask, we say, well, we took this course and it cost this much. And like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And I'm like, don't look at what it costs you, look at what you're going to gain. Like when we bought 2 apartment buildings with partners, we're just like, who are we? We never thought we'd start buying apartment buildings. We're looking at single family homes. Like Sean, we're going to start with single families, maybe duplex them.
Yeah.
And now we're just like our horizons are open. But we went and found a course on multifamily and took it, because it is very different than residential. So we spent more money and learned, and that's kind of what keeps propelling us forward, always learning.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I had a couple questions for you, and I know we're running through time. We got to get to Sam. But you know, like, did you ever believe that was? Did you believe you could buy property without?
If you told
money,
yourself back in
buy 100 doors.
2020 that you would have 100 doors by October 2021, would you have believed
without using your own money?
No, we're probably like everybody else. We'll buy 1 or 2 because that's how much we can save up and do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And once we started, you know, learning about partnerships and joint venturing and using other people's money and private lending, like it is a lot to take in, but we just focused on every single one, found out how it works, and then used it to help make money for. And to be honest, a lot of people talk about real estate making money. We sound like we have a lot of doors and a lot of money. We're only now going to do our first cash flow disbursement like this week. So, you know, we've been making no money ourselves between now and it's going to be a cool day.
It's like that question. It's like, tell me you're a real estate investor without telling me you're a real estate investor. And it's like, yeah, I own millions of dollars worth of assets and I still drive an old Civic, or, you know, like
that's a real estate investor. That's how it works.
Yeah.
I will say that one thing I remember about you is that you did absolutely take advantage of every bit of those laser sessions. You asked those questions. You weren't shy about asking. We don't know what we're doing, and here we're doing this. So what are the next steps? What do we need? Okay, next step. And you would do it. Like you were so good at just breaking it down and saying, where do we go from here? And then you did it. So there's a lot to say about that action piece, right?
Yeah.
Hi,
And just
babies.
don't be afraid to ask questions, right?
Yeah.
And we, like, when you hit a stumbling block, ask the specific question. Don't say what is the general. Just, I have this issue, and people will relate to that and give you the information.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, guys. We appreciate your advice and your example, and that you're real, and just love it. And
Yeah.
hi, sweetie.
And if anybody has any, like questions or anything, just reach out. And if anybody wants to ask us about, because I don't think we even really talked about boot camp and how amazing it was for us when we did it. And I loved doing them every time.
We do them all the time.
I love it every time, not just like the first time. It's every single time.
All right. 10 days from now, we start again. 10 days from now.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Colin.
Thanks,
And
guys.
Nicole. Appreciate everything you've said.
You guys
And
awesome.
yes, we love having you as a part of our group. So we'll talk soon.
Oh,
Thanks.
let's talk about PEI.
Okay. All right. So
Okay,
amazing
jump
stuff
into
there.
Sam.
Let's bring Sam on.
Sam,
Sam, hello. hello. Sorry,
Hi.
we're leaving you to the last because you're out in Edmonton. You're on the West Coast and it's not as late there yet.
Well, I have to say, like, not everyone need to be like them. They are absolutely rock star. A lot of investor, like beginner, can be like me, very boring. We focus on one strategy, one house at a time. Like they are absolutely rock star, but you don't need to be, right? In real estate, the beauty of it is you can have 1 or 2 or 3 houses. You already have a very decent lifestyle, which I have done. And I'm a low profile guy. I don't have $100, but I don't need to have, right? So, but they are amazing people before me, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you said that, Sam, because it's so true. We all have our own goals. We all, we don't have to look at all of this tonight and everything and everybody we're bringing on and say, well, now I'm going to have 500 doors and I'm going to buy 100 apartment buildings. That's not what this is about. Like you said, Sam, if you have 1 extra property in your portfolio or 2 extra properties, it can make a massive difference in your life. And so that's a really, really good point.
Are you in one of your properties right now?
Yeah, we are actually, the tenant is actually waiting to be signing a lease right now. So I have to get going very soon. But yeah, like go back to today's topic, like where I was, I really want to share with everyone is I was in a maybe 80 square feet office box in the back office. I was doing purchasing and I find I was in a place that have no option. And this is why real estate inspired me is about the option to choose. It can be choosing your own free time, option to choose your freedom. One of the biggest thing when I start with real estate is like, I used to I'm just one of a 9 to 5 employee many years ago now, but like the maximum holiday they will allow me is 2 weeks. And I have family in Asia. I need to go back. Now I have the option to choose to go back 2 months, right? So, and I don't need $100 to do that, right? So I was there, and then today we are able to have the option. We have a decent portfolio. Me and my wife actually make fun that we will have enough portfolio before we have kids. Now we have enough portfolio. We're working on the kids side now.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you guys are, and you're juggling so much, right? Like you do your own property management, you deal with your own joint venture partners yourself. You're like very good with your partners and reporting and Rachel, you guys have a lot going on. But yet the freedom to choose, I love that you said, like you can go back to Asia for 2 months every year and see everyone you need to see and, be part of their life and the kids' lives. Because you have all of those things. So, pretty amazing. I just have a question. Ashkay is saying, do you put any sweat equity in and, do you manage things on your own? So in your case, Sam, how does that work for you?
Well, I don't put any sweat equity on renovation. I do find all the tenant myself, but this is one of the options I choose to not do those part, and I will contract the right people to do it. But again, like this is why real estate full of freedom and option is like if you are ready to work crazy hours like the rock star before, you can make a lot of doors, or like you can be like me, very laid back. I don't like to swing a hammer, right? I like to deal with people, so I work with tenants, but this is the choices you can make for yourself.
Yeah. So big point there that you do not have to be buying derelict properties and renovating them. And you don't have to be doing that when it comes to real estate investment. You can be buying turnkey properties and renting them out and making your job much easier. And, you know, look at the property behind you, Sam. It looks amazing. And, you know, our tenants, our tenants gonna wanna, you know, live in a place like that. Is it going to be difficult to rent? Absolutely not. So you have a fantastic strategy as well, Sam. Really, really good.
So, you know, if you, and I know you started, you're being humble and you're saying, you know, just a little guy like me, but you guys have amassed a nice portfolio for yourselves that you can live off of and that treats you well and gives you freedom of choice in your life. If there was newbies that are starting out, what kind of advice do you give to them? What do you think is a good first step for, you know, getting in and being able to have that freedom of choice in their own lives?
I don't want to discount. I really like what they talk about, like get a course or get into action. But I think there's a soft skill you want to learn in the beginning as a beginner is learn how to ask the right question. When you know how to write, don't ask simple question. Any service provider will say, yes, we can do it, no problem. That's not a quality question. You have to learn how to ask a quality question that they have to give you a real answer. And this is part of the bootcamp and IGNiTED, and all this is very variable. For me, it's like our laser section. You don't know what to ask, then listen to other people, what they ask, right? Then you learn through what they ask. Then next question, you know, your question get more high quality every time when you hear the same question 10 times, because you can ask better question. And another tips I always share with a lot of new investors is like, let's say talking to Trey, for example, you have no idea what you're talking, but guess what? Call 10 Trey. The first one you have no idea, but by the 10 times, most likely you talk exactly their language, right? Same thing for like how investing work too, how to raise money. Ask the same question 10 times to 10 different people. Eventually you become the expert. This is how we learn in laser section a lot of the time. And I also say the bootcamp, like a guy like me, I have a decent portfolio before I joined the bootcamp, but I still sign up because it helped me raise from 1 JV to 3 JV now. And a lot of the time it's the mindset that blocking you that a lot of the time in a group setting help you push it through.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
That's awesome.
That is amazing. Thank you, Sam. Love your advice. You have so many tips for newbies. And speaking of tips, every Thursday, guys, Sam is on sharing his tips with us on property management and many other things.
At 1 p.m. Eastern, right here in Fearless, he always shares something like how to screen a tenant, or what does a credit check do for you, or why would you put generational families in the same units, whatever it might be. He's always got tips on self-management. So tune in Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern. Sam, thank you.
And the comments,
Sam, have you back.
The comments are Sam is a gem, and yay, Sam, and Sam the man. And, you know, thank you. So everyone appreciates it. So thank you, Sam. We do appreciate it. And you know what? You are a rock star as well. So thank you, Sam.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, guys.
You know, if we've inspired a little bit of hope and belief in you, that's what we hope to do. Because the biggest thing that really held us back was maybe not believing that we could do it. But when you see other people, maybe in a similar situation as you, and you see that they all did it
during COVID, have kids, work 9 to 5. These are all things that we tell ourselves that, you know, we can't do it because of. and yet they're still doing it. So it is possible, guys. So you know what? Our boot camp starts next Friday. That's 10 days from today,
Crazy.
October 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. And we will be live here within the group. But guys, if you're going to be there, you want the workbook with you. And to get the workbook, you need to register. So just click on the link, register for our boot camp. We'd love to see you there. It's the first 4 steps along this journey. That's what we go through during boot camp. The first 4 steps. Are there more steps after that? Absolutely. And that's what our IGNiTED program is for. But at least you get the first 4 steps in our boot camp, absolutely free. And we do have a special for joining our program as well that we'll be introducing at our boot camp.
And
It
a free
becomes much
scholarship.
cheaper. And
We give
a
one
free scholarship.
free scholarship
Absolutely.
away to one boot camper.
Yes,
To our
every
IGNiTED
single boot camp we've given a free scholarship into IGNiTED. And so
our
we
IGNiTED
will have another
mentorship program.
scholarship coming in next boot camp. It starts next Friday, October 22nd. So hope to see you there. We will see all of our IGNiTED members over in our laser session now. We're going to jump over there. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we will see you next week. What's next week? Really quick.
I don't know.
Don't know? Okay,
Oh,
we'll see you
shoot,
next
this
week.
This week. And Nin actually sent
okay.
me all the announcements that I was supposed to make
Yes,
today, and I
next
forget what it
week.
was.
Next week.
Nin,
Investor Life.
Investor Life.
Okay.
Boot camp, the scholarship. Post a picture of your workbook. Selfie in the group. Okay, so that gets you points toward the scholarship. And what's coming up next for Tuesday training, but you didn't tell me what it is, so I don't know.
Okay.
So,
Anyway, we'll be here next week as well. Talk to you soon, guys.
cheers.
Cheers.